Darren McCaffrey is live for us in Prague, the Czech capital. There he is this morning. Hiya, Darren. You've hot-footed it on a plane over from Birmingham, the Conservative Party hoping to draw a line under that kind of divisive, turbulent conference. And also, starting with this European political community, what is that?
Yeah, first of all, just on the internal politics that we're seeing back home, this is a really, really difficult period for Liz Truss. We've seen Dee Doris, former Culture Secretary in the Times newspaper today, essentially saying that she has not got a mandate for some of the radical policies that she wants to implement as Prime Minister, and suggesting that she needs to roll back on some of those if she wants to stay in power. It follows, obviously, Grant Shapps, a former Cabinet Minister as well under Boris Johnson, saying effectively that she had 10 days to sort all this out or she could be in trouble. So all those domestic problems at home are not going away, despite the fact that yesterday's speech was pretty well received, I think, by many within the Conservative Party. But you're right, Liz Truss is in Prague today at a meeting of what's called the European political community. It's this kind of idea being put about by Emmanuel Macron, who wants to kind of put Europe back at the centre stage of world affairs and to have a kind of bigger grouping than the European Union. And I think one of the reasons the Prime Minister is here today, despite obviously Brexit, is because Turkey is here, Norway is here, lots of the Baltic countries are here, Israel is here, for example. So it essentially is a proper meeting of the whole of Europe. And I was speaking to the Prime Minister about this the other night, and she felt that where there were issues being discussed that were of big importance to the United Kingdom, that she needed to be there to be part of that conversation. And that is why this summit is focusing on migration, on energy security, and particularly, of course, the war in Ukraine. And President Zelensky, while again not being physically here in person, is going to address those leaders from across Europe remotely a little later on. The Prime Minister, Liz Truss, is also going to meet with the French President, Emmanuel Macron. She's going to have an individual meeting as well with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. And it is interesting, isn't it, these two issues. First of all, let's talk about migration. Within the last couple of minutes, by the way, it's been reported that up to 80 migrants may well have died of two boats trying to reach Greece overnight. And you have to remind her that obviously migrants don't just pop up in places like France. They travel through lots of Europe. And clearly the Prime Minister understands that if you want to sort out illegal migration into the UK, that needs wider European cooperation. And then when it comes to energy security, the UK at the moment trying to tie down long-term deals with countries such as Norway. They're here today. That's why it's important, because as she said in her speech yesterday, the UK cannot avoid what's going to happen this winter, i.e. having to rescue people's energy bills from happening in the future, and that means long-term energy deals with countries like Norway and elsewhere. So it'll be a really, really fascinating day, obviously post-Brexit, but as I say, the Prime Minister very clear that she feels that when these big discussion points are taking place, she needs to be at the table and be part of those conversations.